गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we are observing a festival which is very special to the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, known as the Panihati Mahotsav. Srimad Bhagavatam describes Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. The Bhagavatam foretells that in Kali Yuga the Lord will appear and the characteristics of the Lord's appearance in Kali Yuga are described in this verse. Krishna Varnam, the Lord will be describing Krishna, and Tvisha Akrishnam, and his own Tvisha means complexion, and his own complexion will be Akrishnam, not dark. Krishna means dark and not dark. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam. Whenever the Lord appears, he comes for Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam. So he must carry weapons, isn't it? When the Lord appeared as Ramachandra, he came with weapons. In Parashurama, he came with a weapon. In all these different avatars, the Lord came with weapons. When he came as Narasimha, his nakha were like Vajra. His nails were like thunderbolt. And that's why when he ripped Hiranyakashipu, he was a powerful demon. So when the Lord appears in Kali Yuga, what are his astra? While he is describing Krishna and his color, his complexion is not dark, his astra are Sango Pangastra Parshadam. Parshada means the Lord's associates in the spiritual world. Those associates, Parshada, they will be his Sangha Upangastra Parshadam. They will be his associates and they will be his weapon. So what does that mean? How the Sangha, his Parshadas who come with him, they will be his weapons. What does that mean? This verse which indicates Chaitanya's appearance, who was always glorifying Krishna, and his complexion was Gauranga, not dark, golden. And how did he go about Dharma samsthapanarthaya? And how did he go about Vinashaya cha dushkritam? He, through his associates, was involved in transforming the hearts of people. And that's how he conquered their demoniac natures. So, and then the verse says, Yagnai Sankirtana Prayai. And he will be doing the yagna of Sankirtana, Yajantihi Sumedasaha. And intelligent people, not everyone, intelligent, those who are blessed with the right intelligence, will recognize this incarnation. So Chaitanya came with many, many associates of his from the spiritual world. And one of those associates is Raghunath Das Goswami. And today's festival is about Raghunath Das. Raghunath Das was born in a family of rich zamindars in a place called Saptagram. Saptagram is about 50 kilometers north of today's Calcutta in West Bengal. Chaitanya was born in 1486. 8 years later, Raghunath Das was born. 1494. 1486, Chaitanya was born. 8 years later, 1494, Raghunath Das was born. So 8 years. So when Lord appeared, Chaitanya appeared, gradually his different associates are also descending from the spiritual world to assist Chaitanya. So these are all Raghunath Das. They are all not ordinary people. And so he was born in a small town, not very far from where Chaitanya was born. Chaitanya was born in Mayapur, Navadvip. And Raghunath Das, one of the associates. And Chaitanya had hundreds and thousands of associates who all appeared immediately during his time and for a few generations after to take this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forward. So Raghunath Das is one such great associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who was actually an associate of Krishna in the spiritual world. Raghunath Das, his parents were rich zamindars. His uncle was also very rich. He was born into such a family, but they were very devoted and devoted to the Lord. And in his younger, as a boy, he was taught by one teacher, one guru of the family known as Balaram Acharya. And Balaram Acharya not only taught him as a young boy, Raghunath Das, he also taught him, not only he taught him about bhakti, he also informed him about Chaitanya's appearance. When Raghunath Das heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was doing his Leela in Navadvip, Raghunath Das heard that Chaitanya would be doing Sankirtana. He was known as Gauranga, and he had long, beautiful hair, and he had long arms, and he would be singing and dancing in the town of Navadvip with so many townspeople and inducing everyone to chant. And when he is chanting and singing and dancing, even Devatas come and watch, because it was such a celestial, such a divine experience where Chaitanya was doing Sankirtana. So then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated the Sankirtana in Navadvip, And then we have heard about, for those who are familiar with Chaitanya's biography, there was at a certain time, there was opposition for his Sankirtana and for the message he was trying to present. And this, at that time, Chaitanya was 24 years old. And Chaitanya decides to take sannyas so that he can more effectively propagate his mission. And in the year 1510, 1486 to 1510, 24 years, he took sannyas. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas and he wanted to head towards Vrindavan, but there was another interesting leela and he was directed to a place called Shantipur. Even today, if you travel from Calcutta to Mayapur, on the highway, a little away from the highway, maybe 1 or 2 kilometers, you will come to this place called Shantipur. So, Chaitanya arrived there, and actually Chaitanya's few associates were very concerned because Chaitanya, at the age of 24, he left home. His father was not there, only his mother and his young wife. If Chaitanya was 24, how old his young wife would have been? Maybe 15, 16-year-old young girl. And his mother, Chaitanya's mother, was very concerned that my son should not take sannyas because her first son had gone away from home taking sannyas. So Chaitanya's mother was very concerned. Chaitanya should not go away and take sannyas. But it had to happen. So in the middle of the night, he leaves home without the knowledge of the mother and the wife, and travels and goes to a place called Katwa and takes sannyas. And now once he has taken sannyas, that long beautiful hair he had and the silken garments that he used to wear and the beautiful sankirtan that he used to do, and now as a sannyasi, his head is shaved up. All the beautiful long hair is gone. And all the silken garments that he used to wear as the young prince of Navadvip, he abandoned all that and started wearing simple saffron robes. He took sannyas, and then his associates thought that his mother should know about this. And so they made an arrangement that Chaitanya comes to Shantipur, to the residence of Advaita Acharya, and there they bring Sachi Mata, the mother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to meet him. The wife won't come. Wife cannot come because he has taken sannyas. Mother can come and meet a son who has taken sannyas. And when Sachi Mata sees Chaitanya, she is shocked. My dear son, she used to call him Nimai, and he was known as Nimai Pandit before his sannyas. His sannyas nama was Krishna Chaitanya. So she called out Nimai and saw that the son was in his sannyas robes, shaved head, saffron robes, simple garment, effulgent. She called out Nimai and fainted. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in the house of Advaita Acharya at Shantipur for 10 days. It was at that time the discussion happens that Mother Sachi says, Chaitanya Nimai, don't go to Vrindavan. I cannot get information about you. Please go to Puri, Jagannath Puri, so that I can get some information about you now and then. Jagannath Puri was closer, much, much closer than Vrindavan. We must remember those days the fastest way to travel was a bullock cart. And so these distances mattered a lot. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agrees to go to Puri and not to Vrindavan. But of course, Chaitanya's biographers analyze this. The Bahiranga Karana for him to go to Jagannath Puri was his mother's request. There was an Antaranga Karana for which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chose to go to Puri and not to Vrindavan. And that's the Acharyas describe this. This has a very, very deep, very wonderful, very sweet, philosophical implications of why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes, the Antaranga Karana. We will not go into that today. Now here Raghunath Das, he is in Saptagram. He has heard from his guru Balaram Acharya that there is Chaitanya who has come and he is doing this Sankirtan, and now he has taken sannyas and he has come to Shantipur. Shantipur is very close to Saptagram. And when Chaitanya was 24 years and taken sannyas, Raghunath Das was a young boy of 16 years, 15, 16. So being a young boy, he asked his father, Govardhan Majumdar, my dear father, shall I go and see a sannyasi saint, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And the rich father, Zamindar, he has got a big estate, so much affluence, so much opulence, so much wealth, so many servants, big house. When he hears that my son wants to go and see a sannyasi, you can imagine, the fathers and mothers don't like to hear their son wants to go and see a sannyasi. Even 500 years ago, this was their concern. And he said, no, you shall not go. Raghunath Das was disappointed. He couldn't hold himself. He slipped away from the guards and many other servants who were keeping a watch in the house without anyone's knowledge. He slipped away and came to Shantipur. Advaita Acharya, in whose house Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying for those 10 days, Advaita Acharya could recognize this Raghunath Das, so eager to come and serve Chaitanya. He kept him for about 5 to 7 days. He had an opportunity to serve him. And Advaita Acharya made sure, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has had his meal, the little leftover, and that is known as Uchishta Pata, on the plate, on the leaf plate on which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had eaten. Advaita Acharya folded that and brought that. Many devotees would be eager to get Uchishta Prasadam of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he ensured Raghunath Das gets this Uchishta Prasadam. Raghunath Das was so happy. He saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his golden effulgence doing the kirtan, and he was struck, so attracted. And then after 10 days, Chaitanya left and he was heading towards Puri, and Raghunath Das slowly came back to his home. And the father had noticed that without his permission, without his knowledge, this young Raghunath had escaped and gone away to see some sannyasi who has come from Navadvip. He called all his servants and stepped up the vigilance on Raghunath Das. There were 11 guards specially appointed. 24 hours they should keep a watch on Raghunath Das. So Raghunath Das, after seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and hearing from him, hearing, participating in his Sankirtana, he had no interest in all the opulence in his house, all the wealth that was around, the servants and the good food, good dress, all the wealth, anything you want. But Raghunath Das is disinterested in that. He is longing, how can I go and serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So at that time, from 1510, that's when Chaitanya Sannyas, the first meeting has happened. 1510. And he is longing. And he makes an attempt, without anyone's knowledge, try to slip away from the guards. But the guards are too quick. They catch up, bring him back and home and present him to the father. The father is very upset. Again you made an attempt to run away? And Raghunath Das was silent, accepting the situation. And then he made another attempt. Once again the gods caught him, brought him back to his father. Again and again, Raghunath Das made many attempts to slip away and head towards Jagannath Puri. But all his attempts failed. And Sri Chaitanya was in Puri for a short while. And after that, he went on a South India tour for almost 18 months. He went all the way down to Kanyakumari and then traveled up and then went up to Gokarna and then traveled across the center of the central part of India and came back to Puri. And 4 more years passed, 1514. Now Chaitanya has now made a plan to go to Varanasi, Kashi, and then to Mathura. And there on his way, once again he comes to Shantipur. In 1514, once again he comes to Shantipur. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi, now he has come. But now, Chaitanya has become very well known because the head priest of Jagannath Puri, Jagannath Temple, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a very renowned scholar, about 60 years old, and the advisor to the king of Odia district, Odia state, Pratap Rudra, his advisor, he has become a follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The news had spread that the big Pandit, big scholar, highly respected, he has become a follower of a young sannyasi. And then there were 2 other very renowned people of that area who had also become followers of Chaitanya, Rupa and Sanatana. They were the chief minister and the minister of the king of Gauda Desha. And they also had become. So like this, the news had spread that this Chaitanya, this young sannyasi, he is so influential. Some of the foremost scholars of his time, they are all becoming his followers. So it's not a small thing. Oh, that Chaitanya. And when he comes, now Chaitanya was not a simple sannyasi. Now he was a renowned sannyasi. So the news comes to Raghunath Das, to Saptagram, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has once again come to Shantipur. Raghunath Das goes and requests his father. Mahaprabhu has come to Shantipur, which is just a short distance from Saptagram. And so he requested, can I go and see him? So this time the father considered that, yes, my son has so much desire and he is a very renowned sannyasi. All right, I will send him, but with guards and escorts. So Raghunath is surrounded by guards and escorts, and he goes. He's now about 20, 21 years, young boy. He goes and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when his second visit, he's there in Shantipur for 6 days only. And after that he's heading towards Varanasi, towards Vrindavan, Mathura. So once again he gets an opportunity and he falls at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and requests him, I don't want to continue to be in my home with my father, mother, and all of that. Please, I want to come and be your servant. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears that, he tells Raghunath Das, no, go back to your house and take care of your father's different, whatever he's involved in, and be a pounds and shillings man. So Raghunath Das is disappointed, but it is Mahaprabhu's order. So he offers his respects and returns to Saptagram, accompanied by all the escorts and the guards. And the father is very happy. Now my son is going to be with me. So Raghunath Das Goswami, on the order of his father, on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he now gets involved in his father's his father was a zamindar, landlord, assets, and different things that he was doing. Raghunath Das got involved, and the father saw this is a good opportunity. Let's get him married. And he got him married. So the father and the mother were very happy. Now our son, he is married. He's taking care of all the estate and different things. So looks like things are better now. So Raghunath Das was in this kind of a situation. One day, the servants of Raghunath Das came and told, Raghunath Prabhu, I'm seeing there's a whole army coming towards Saptagram. I see horses, soldiers, they're all approaching Saptagram. So Raghunath Das was wondering, why? What has happened? And the next thing he hears, the guards, the soldiers, all of them, the army that has come from the king of Gauda Desha, they have surrounded Raghunath Das's home. He's wondering what is going on. And there is one Muslim chief who has brought this army, and he comes and meets Raghunath Das and asks, where is your father? Where is your uncle? Raghunath Das didn't know. He said, father must be in the house. And then they look around. The father is not there. Where is your uncle? Uncle was also nearby, and big family, big house. And the father and the uncle, both are not there. And then the Muslim Chaudhry who had brought the army, he says, your father and your uncle, they are cheating the king. So Raghunath Das didn't know. Why? What is happening? Actually, this Chaudhry, Muslim Chaudhry, he was actually a tax collector. But Raghunath Das's father and uncle had good relation with the king, and they had replaced him, and Raghunath Das's uncle and father became the tax collector, and so this Muslim Chaudhry was envious of them. And so he lodged a complaint, a false complaint, and got an army to arrest Raghunath Das's father and uncle. And this Chaudhry said, your father and uncle, they are collecting taxes, 20 lakh gold coins. And according to the arrangement, they have to hand over 15 lakh gold coins to the king of Gauda Desh. But instead of handing over 15 lakh gold coins, they are handing over only 12 lakh gold coins. 3 lakh gold coins extra they are keeping. The king is very upset about it, and they have sent this army and me to arrest them and bring them to Gauda Desha. So Raghunath Das says, I'm not aware of all this, but just see, my father, uncle, they are not. Because the father and uncle had got a message that the Chaudhry is bringing the army. They had already gone away. So then Chaudhry said, all right, your father and uncle, they are not here. We will arrest you. And they bound Raghunath Das, took him away. So Raghunath Das was in the captivity of this Chaudhry. And then the Chaudhry would come and ask Raghunath Das, tell me, where is your father? It is not possible. The son doesn't know where the father is, where the uncle is. And Raghunath Das didn't know really. And he would admit that, I really don't know. And then like this, the conversation was happening over a few days. Many times this Muslim Chaudhry would come and see Raghunath Das. But every time this Muslim Chaudhry came and saw Raghunath Das, his heart was melting because of the saintly qualities that he was seeing in Raghunath Das. The soft, sweet, saintly, innocent speech of Raghunath Das captivated the heart of Muslim Chaudhry. And Raghunath Das, seeing that this Muslim Chaudhry, he's like in this kind of a situation, trying to arrest my father and mother, then he started having a conversation after a few days. My dear Chaudhry, you, my father, my uncle, all of you are actually like brothers. Sometimes among brothers they will fight, no? In the same way today you are fighting. In a few days you will all become all right and you will be sitting together and happily smiling, talking, laughing. I know what your anger is all just a superficial anger. So Chaudhry started thinking, oh yeah, that's true. I know Hiranya Majumdar and Govardhan Majumdar. Yes, why have I become so angry? So he said, this is all, I'm not so perturbed that you are angry at my father. Then the Chaudhry heard this one and he said, yeah, that is true. I know them well. Now I'll do one thing. I'll let you free. Please go and arrange a meeting for me to meet your father and uncle. So Raghunath Das said, all right, I will arrange. And he got freed and he came back to home, and father and uncle had come and made an arrangement, and the matter was settled in a very peaceful manner. So like this, Raghunath Das had got involved, according to the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in different dealings with the father and affairs, and now has a wife. But Raghunath Das is not at peace. He is longing to go and be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve his mission. And he's again and again getting news. Chaitanya is in Mathura, Chaitanya is in Kashi, Chaitanya is back in Puri. And he is longing, how I can go to Jagannath Puri. He once again makes an attempt without anyone's knowledge. But the guards are very smart. They catch him and bring him back. And the father and mother are sitting and, oh, still he is trying to run away from home. The mother says, yes, we have to be more strict now. You are not listening to me. I'm telling you, get ropes and tie him up, bind him, let him be bound in the house. And the father looked at the mother and said, oh, you are telling we should bind him with ropes? He has got opulence like Indra. And look, our daughter-in-law, she's like an apsara. If all the wealth in the house and a beautiful angelic wife is not able to hold him, what will your ropes do binding him? And the mother thought over and said, yeah, that's true. You must understand, the father said, he has received the blessing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because of which he has lost all attraction for these material things. I have heard that is the effect of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So Raghunath Das is in this state of a situation, not interested in being in the house with the midst of wealth and opulence and material life, longing to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri and serve him and be involved in his mission. It was at that time, in a small village close to Saptagram, there was a village by name Panihati. Chaitanya's closest associate, Nityananda Prabhu, would be traveling in different parts of Bengal and Odisha with his innumerable associates, going from village to village, telling people that they should chant the names of Krishna. This is the Yuga Dharma, and they should surrender to Krishna. They should learn the teachings of Krishna given in the Gita and the Bhagavatam. And in this way, they must, along with whatever occupation that they are doing, they should become successful in their life by achieving pure bhakti to Krishna. And Nityananda Prabhu, his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associate, was so spiritually influential. Actually, the Shastras say, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram. So we can imagine when Balaram becomes a preacher, what a spiritual influence he can have. So, Nityananda Prabhu he also had so many associates. And all of these associates, they're all come from the spiritual world. Balaram is surrounded by so many cowherd boys in Vrindavan. And so all those cowherd boys had now become devotees in different towns, and they were all associates of Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu, with his associates, had come to this Panihati. And Panihati is just very close to Saptagram. And he was sitting, it is on the bank of Ganga river. So Nityananda Prabhu was sitting on a rock, under a tree, and Ganga flowing here. And all his associates sitting. And with him, with his associates, he's doing kirtan, he's discussing Bhagavata, he's discussing Krishna Katha, and everyone is so happy. And then Nityananda Prabhu's associates, one of them walks up to Nityananda Prabhu and tells, Nityananda Prabhu, can you see there at that distance? Nityananda Prabhu looks there and he sees someone falling and full dandavat and paying obeisance, paying pranams. And Nityananda Prabhu is looking and he says, that is Raghunath Das. So Nityananda Prabhu says, go bring him. And Raghunath Das was hiding from a distant place, looking at the effulgent Nityananda Prabhu with his associates, all of them doing kirtan, seeing that beautiful, wonderful, spiritually powerful scene. He was watching from a distance. And then Nityananda Prabhu's associates, his servants, they go and tell Raghunath Das, Nityananda Prabhu is calling, you should go. And Raghunath Das, feeling very humble, he comes before Raghunath Das, before Nityananda Prabhu, and he pays his obeisance and is falling. His head is here. Nityananda Prabhu is sitting on this rock under the tree, Ganga river, devotees, associates around him, and Raghunath Das falling and paying his obeisance to Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is very happy to see him, and he says, wake up, get up. And Nityananda Prabhu was, he is brother of Krishna, and he and the Gopas, they would go in the forest and they would have fun. And Nityananda Prabhu also was very funny, joking, in jest. So he looked at Raghunath Das and became very angry. Raghunath, I'm very angry at you. And Raghunath Das didn't know. Oh, Nityananda Prabhu is angry. Finished. Says, I'm very angry at you that you are hiding from at a distance you are watching. And I want to punish you. Raghunath Das thinks, oh my God, how did I displease Nityananda? And he wants to punish me. Anyway, punishment from Nityananda Prabhu is also a great mercy. And he says, yes. So the punishment is, I've got, see how many associates are there all around me? And we have all come here. And we belong to the community of cowherds. And we like to be in a place like this, on the banks, on the sandy banks of a river. But we are seeing something is not here. I want to punish you. You arrange a feast for everybody here. So Raghunath Das is very happy to hear this punishment. The punishment is that he has to arrange a feast for all the associates of Nityananda Prabhu and his associates. And then he's very happy to hear that he has to arrange a feast. And he goes back to Saptagram. Anyway, he is so rich, he has got all the resources, he has no difficulty. So he gets all his servants and they buy big pots of chida, flat rice, and they bring pots of milk, soak it in milk, and then they also bring yogurt and they bring condensed milk. And then they bring some special bananas, karpura, and jaggery and sugar, and get many people, and they are mixing all these things and make two preparations. Chida soaked in milk and mixed with yogurt and mixed with condensed milk. So, and these preparations are going on, and the word is spreading everywhere that there is a big festival, Utsava going on here. And this is a Danda Mahotsava, a festival of punishment. because Nityananda Prabhu wanted to punish Raghunath Das. And Raghunath Das is very happy, and then he makes all these arrangements, and then he brings 2 pots and gives it to Nityananda Prabhu. One with yogurt, another with condensed milk. And all his assistants are serving and these different preparations that's going on. And all the associates are eating. And the news has spread that, oh, such a big festival is happening. All the merchants, they were having so much stock of yogurt, milk, condensed milk, and chipped rice. They also brought. And Raghunath Das happily bought from all of them and made them sit down. You also participate in the festival. They sold and they sat down, and they also got all the chipped rice which was offered. And like this, Nityananda Prabhu was having this kind of a feast. And Nityananda Prabhu said, such a wonderful feast Raghunath has us arranged, and let's distribute this and chant the names of Hari. And once Nityananda Prabhu ordered that everyone should chant Hari, everyone said, Hari, Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And the waves of the holy name of Hari spread everywhere. Raghunath Das was very happy, and there were many other associates of Nityananda Prabhu, and they started doing kirtan, and Raghunath Das was distributing, and it was at that time Nityananda Prabhu mystically brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into this festival. Only a few fortunate devotees who were very qualified and fortunate, they could see not only Nityananda Prabhu, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here. And there was a wonderful big kirtan going on. Chaitanya and Nityananda singing and dancing. So many devotees also singing and dancing. And this prasadam distribution going on. Chira Dahi Mahotsav going on. And then Raghunath Das brings these pots, and Nityananda Prabhu takes a morsel and forces Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and puts it in his mouth. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very happy to receive a morsel from Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls for the pot, and he takes another morsel and forces Nityananda Prabhu to eat. And all the devotees seeing this, at least those who were seeing Chaitanya and Nityananda, they were so happy and they were chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And in this way, this big festival happened. Kirtan, devotees ecstatically chanting, and the distribution of the Chira and Chida Dahi and Chida Dahi and Chida Dugdha. 2 kinds of preparations, with condensed milk and with yogurt, and many other items added to this. And it was a wonderful feast that happened. And then that night, everyone returned to their homes. And the next morning, once again, Raghunath Das came. And in the same place on the rock, Nityananda Prabhu was sitting with his associates. And he was very pleased that the previous day, such a nice festival had been arranged by Raghunath Das. And Raghunath Das falls at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu and begs once again, I've been trying to get freed from my household life and go to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it has not been happening. Please bless me. And so Nityananda Prabhu tells all the devotees, look at Raghunath. How much of wealth, how much of opulence, such an opportunity he has to enjoy life, but he is not interested. He wants to serve the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So fortunate he is. I want all of you to bless him so that his desire to serve the mission of Chaitanya, to be in the association of Chaitanya is fulfilled. So, all the devotees hearing this, they say, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. They are very happy that Raghunath Das had given such a feast. And now Nityananda Prabhu places his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath Das. Raghunath Das holds the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu, extremely happy that he has got the blessing of Nityananda Prabhu. And then he returns to Saptagram. Nityananda Prabhu tells him, don't worry, Krishna will arrange and your desires will be fulfilled. This happened in the year 1516. And then he returns. After the Panihati Chidadahi Danda Mahotsav festival, Raghunath Das has become even more disinterested in the house. Now he is not sleeping in the inner quarters of the house. He begins to sleep on one platform in the house, and he's disinterested. The father and mother are looking at these things, and they are very unhappy, but what they cannot help it. He's so drawn and attracted to be in the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Another year passes, and there was one priest in the family by name Yadunandan Acharya. Raghunath Das, he was very smart. Coming from a rich family, had that kind of an exposure, and he was extremely smart. And so Yadunandan Acharya came to Raghunath Das's house. He was an elderly, saintly Acharya, person, devotee. And he requested Raghunath Das. He was having a temple, he was having deities, he was looking after the puja. And he came and told Raghunath Das that the pujari I used to have, something has happened to him, he has gone away. And there's no one to properly take care of the Lord. Please, I want you to help me, talk to him, convince him. Because they knew Raghunath Das could do all these kind of convincing somebody and solving problems. So Yadunandan Acharya, so Raghunath Das heard this and said, all right, Acharya Dev, I will help you, I will talk to the... And this discussion was going on, what is the problem, why he is not there, what has to be done. And it became evening, and it became night. And this discussion was going on, and then Raghunath Das looks around. The guards have all gone to sleep, they're all waiting. But they are tired, they've gone to sleep. And then he talks to Yadunandan Acharya and comes out of the house. And Yadunandan Acharya's house was also nearby. Says, now you can go and I will take care of it. So Yadunandan Acharya goes away. Raghunath Das is there, looks around, guards are sleeping. So he decides, now this is the opportunity. And he leaves home, and he starts heading towards Jagannath Puri. But he knows, if he takes the normal route that is well known, from this village to this village, this road to this road, that's how people would travel. His father would next day catch him and bring him back. So he decides not to go through those standard village roads, but he decides to go through the forest and the hills and the forest. It's 10 days walk from Saptagram to reach Puri. And those 10 days, he would walk through the forest, through the jungle, and not always he would get food. In the forest, by chance he would find someone, a small house, a small hut, and seeing that he is someone who is so hungry and so tired, and looking at that, some milkman would give some milk to him. So Chaitanya Charitamrita describes this, that although his body was fasting, his soul was feasting, eagerly waiting to be in the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Charitamrita says, in those 10 days, he had food to eat only for 3 days. Although he was fasting, he was not perturbed by that. He was longing to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the next day, the father realizes that, where is my son? And the last they remember is that he was talking to Yadunandan Acharya. He goes and they go and ask Yadunandan Acharya, what happened? He said, yes, I talked to him, and after a while, he sent me off, and I came home, and I thought he's gone back to the house. But no, he's not. Then the father understood, he has gone away. Then he ordered all his servants, go and search in this direction, that direction, this path, this route. Everywhere they go and they come back and say, we are not able to find Raghunath Das. So after 10 days, Raghunath Das has reached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He goes to the presence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he submits and he says, please, I can't stay anymore away from you. I want to serve your mission. I want to serve your lotus feet. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very happy when he sees Raghunath Das. He embraces him. And Raghunath Das is crying, there's tears coming from his eyes, being embraced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What a fortune now! I'm in the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So like this, Raghunath Das joins Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's his secretary, his immediate secretary. There were two associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are very, very confidential associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One is Swarup Damodar, another is Ramananda Raya. They were two very confidential. They would understand the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And according to different moods, they would read different prayers, different verses, different leelas from Bhagavata. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be in ecstasy, feeling separation from Krishna. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entrusted Raghunath Das to be under the care of Swarup Damodar. And so he became an assistant to Swarup Damodar. And Swarup Damodar was an assistant serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this went on for 16 years till Chaitanya Mahaprabhu closed his manifest pastimes in Jagannath Puri. Up to the last days of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Raghunath Das was serving Swarup Damodar, and that's how Raghunath Das became famous as Swaruper Raghu, because he was under the care, under the training of Swarup Damodar. And after that, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wound up his pastimes, Raghunath continued to serve Swarup Damodar for many more years. And after that, Swarup Damodar also left this world. And then Raghunath traveled from Puri and went to Vrindavan, and on the banks of Radhakund made his residence there, and he wrote many, many books there, and he would be chanting, and finally he lived for a long number of years, and he was one of the powerful preachers and had tremendous influence and changed the hearts of many, many people, wrote these books, and he would be chanting the holy names of the Lord on the banks of Radhakund. And finally, Raghunath Das also, he became known as Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were all associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, direct disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And finally, he wound up his pastimes. And even today, we see the Samadhi of Raghunath Das Goswami on the banks of Radhakund in Vrindavan, in Braj. So today, We especially remember this pastime. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to celebrate Panihati, Chiradahi, Mahotsav in all our temples, in all Srila Prabhupada's temples. The important message in this Leela is that in order to achieve the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we must be blessed by Nityananda Prabhu. When Raghunath Das pleased Nityananda Prabhu, and when Nityananda Prabhu blessed him, all the impediments in his devotional service went away, and he could attain the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve him. So this is a lesson that we must all learn. We must aspire, we must hanker eagerly for the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu. And by the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu, we will be able to attain the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the spiritual master is a representative of Nityananda Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada is that pure representative of Nityananda Prabhu. And if we please Srila Prabhupada and get his blessings, we will get the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu. And by the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu, we will get the blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by the blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we will attain the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the transcendental science. There is no way to escape this. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadaha. Yasya aprasadat nagatihi kutopi. So, remembering these instructions on this day, let us now move on to the next part of the festival. We will have the Arati for Chaitanya, Nityananda, Radha Krishna, Chandra and Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.